I found a very interesting post on Instagram that's really teaching a lot. I can really relate to that. It's about what parents need to do and what they shouldn't do, how they should talk to their children. But that also applies to many other situations in life where you can apply that. For example, you're a boss and you have employees and you need to talk to them, or you have friends and you want to achieve a goal together. You want to build a company, something successful. It's really 8 advices, and the title of this is How to be a Good Parent. So the first one is this one right here, and it says, the average parent shows the child what they need to do. A good parent shows the child why it's better to do it this way. So that's very important. That's number 1. Don't tell people that you're working with just what they should do. It's not about the what to do. They gotta understand why they're doing it. And that's going to lead to success, because then they understand why it's necessary to do it that way, and they will start doing it by themselves. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2. The average parent says, stop, don't do that. What's wiser to do? A wise parent says, think about the consequences. So, just telling somebody not to do something is not a good way, because they don't understand why not to do it. And so there's always that question burning within them, why should I not do it? And how do they react to that? Especially children. They will try it out to see what happens. So what you want to do instead is tell them to think about the consequences. If you do it like that, what do you think will happen? Make them think. Make them use their brains and figure out what could happen, and then they may act differently. That's tip number 2. Think about the consequences. Here's tip number 3. The average parent says or deals with the consequences of a problem. Something has happened, you take care of the consequence of the problem. A wise parent or leader deals with the source of the problem. So making sure by dealing with the source of the problem that the problem will not occur anymore. Remove the source of the problem, and with your friends, employees, with the people you coach as a leader, find out what's the source of the problem and resolve the source of the problem instead of working on the consequences of the initial problem. That's tip number 3, if I count it correctly. The average parent, and you can always replace parent with leader, provides answers. So if somebody asks you something or has a problem, you just give them the answer. That's easy. They will keep asking you. You feel important. They will keep asking you because you have all the answers, but they will learn nothing. So what the wise parent does is teach them to search for answers. And that is so true for leadership too. I do that every day. If people come to me and ask me, I will ask them back. I will try to understand the problem. I will ask them details about the problem, and then people will start thinking themselves and find out what may be the cause of the problem. They will find out the way to think, to find the answers, the process on how to find answers, and they will learn to find answers themselves. That's the real goal, to make your employees or your partners or your kids independent and make them and enable them to find answers for themselves. Show them the process on how to find answers. Next one. That's number 5 if I count it correct. That one is very important. I relate to that so much. What it says is, the average parent will say, "You have no idea." And what happens then is the other person just feels really dumb. And they will not ask you again. If they try something and it doesn't work out and you say you have no idea, it's not fun to keep trying. They will stop. And that's certainly not what you want to achieve. So this is kind of a no-go, a no-say. Never say that. You have no idea, you're dumb, you're stupid, you will never learn. Those are all very negative things to say. Never use that. It's really leading nowhere. Instead, a wise parent or leader will say, think again, and you will find the answer. So, motivate them to try again. If they make a mistake, point to the mistake, or just tell them to, maybe it's math, tell them to recalculate, show them how to check if the answer is right. Teach them the way to find out if the answer is right. And tell them to think again. It's kind of the same thing as showing them the way to find the problem and showing them how to progress. They gotta learn how to develop themselves after all. And that's what you wanna teach them. So what a wise parent says is, think again and you will find the answer. You can do it. Motivate. Tell them that they can do it. They can do it. But don't put them down by saying dumb stuff like you have no idea. That's really a no, no, never. Never, ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever say that. Never. There's another one. This one here. The average parent or leader says, always uses someone else as an example. Can you think of somebody who's doing that? Like, yeah, look at that person. He's always making this perfect. His homework is always perfect, no mistakes. He's got the best grades. Using somebody else as an example. It's actually just putting down the other person, using somebody else as an example. That's the problem with it. So what do you do instead? A wise parent or leader? Encourage people to be themselves. And that is so powerful. Don't teach your children to be somebody else because they can't. It will just hinder their own development. It will just be bad for them. They will try to be somebody else. They will not be happy. Teach them to be themselves, to find what makes them happy. And I said this many times before and I keep repeating myself. In the end, it's all about happiness. Happiness is so important. And if you're somebody else, and if you teach your kids to become somebody else, it's not gonna work. So you gotta teach them to be themselves, to find their own strengths, their own weaknesses, their own interests, their own passions, where they can start to develop from that. This is so important. This is so powerful. But there's another one. The average parent will always guard against problems. Do you know that? We call them helicopter parents. They always protect their children from everything. The same is true at the workplace. There are leaders that try to protect their employees from everything. That's not good leaders, because their employees will not learn anything. They will never be independent. They will never be independent thinkers. They will never be able to solve problems themselves. But that's the ultimate goal. You want to enable your employees. You want to enable other people to be successful, to find solutions, to solve problems on their own, to find their own way in their lives. So true for children. You want them to be able to find their path in life. And that doesn't work if you solve all the problems for them. So what do you do instead? A wise parent sometimes allows a child to make mistakes. You know that saying that you gotta do the mistake first to learn? We learn by mistakes. Mistakes are so important. It's not a bad thing to do a mistake, not at all. We learn through mistakes. I mean, remember when you were a kid and somebody told you, don't touch this in the kitchen because it's hot? Would you just believe it? No, I bet you burned your fingers at least once. And after you had that experience, you learned. And now you know what hot means. And you will not touch it again. You will be more careful, so you learned. By mistakes we learn. Mistakes are so important, and it's also so important to learn from mistakes. Don't just stumble through your life making one mistake after another, and especially don't blame yourself for making mistakes. That is so stupid. Don't do that. Don't blame yourself, but instead take every mistake as a chance to reflect, think about it, and learn from the mistake to improve yourself. This whole life, this whole process of life is a learning experience. You improve every day, and every day you try to be better than the day before. At least for me, that's so true. So, allow other people to make mistakes. Forgive mistakes. Forgiving is so powerful. It's so powerful to forgive, to allow them to make mistakes. And yeah, I know when you're in the moment it can be hard, but people really learn most when they make mistakes, and they only believe you when they make the mistakes themselves. So instead of telling them, show them, or even better, let them make things themselves, and they learn most. There's another one. The average parent tries to be good. Yeah, we all try to be good. What is good though? Isn't that trying to act like somebody you probably are not? So instead, try to be natural and open. Be yourself. We had that before. You cannot expect your children to be themselves when you're acting. So don't act. Don't play to be a parent. That's powerful. Don't play. Be yourself. And be open to learn, because nobody's born a parent. We all also learn. Nobody's born a leader. We learn on the way. We make mistakes too. So the same things that I just told you about kids or employees is true for leaders and parents. We also make mistakes every day, and that's good. We learn from mistakes. Don't try to be perfect. That will kill you. It's so stressful. Don't do that. Just be yourself with all your little mistakes and try to improve every day. And that's it for today. I really enjoyed this post here on Instagram, and it's so powerful. It's so powerful. It's about leadership. It's not only about being a parent, it's about leadership too, and it's so powerful, and I hope you take something from this. Please comment in the video what you take from what I just told you here in this video. In the meantime, check out that video as well, because I really like it and you may like it too. Try to improve every day. See you in the next video.